Father Fabio, for about 4 years I separated, not because of my fault, but for my husband's things. I always believed that marriage should be forever. Father, since then I have never received communion because I know the church is against divorce. Once, when I confessed, the priest told me that over time I could receive communion. Once I told you, I haven't forgiven my husband yet. And he told me that the lack of forgiveness was imperative, right? But that over time, this forgiveness would come. Father, I can't say that I have forgiven. I still suffer a lot from certain situations and the wound has not yet healed. But at the same time, I suffer because I would like to receive communion. I go to masses and always distress, asking God for forgiveness for all the sins I think I have committed in my life. You see, this person has no hindrance, because I already got to know her situation a little, though. There is no problem for communion because it has not contracted another marriage, right? She is a person who divorced. We do not know. And she doesn't have another husband. So it's no problem with the Eucharist for her. She does not live in adultery. Has no hindrance. What he had said was that she actually needed to go through the experience of forgiveness to receive Jesus. I particularly think, guys, that sometimes we have a very wrong understanding of the Eucharist. Sometimes we have that feeling that the Eucharist has to be received by pure people. It's true. It is a valid theology. But you see, if we think about the word of Jesus when he tells us that he came to the sick, wouldn't the Eucharist here be a medicine for this forgiveness to come? Sometimes I keep thinking that we deprive themselves from the Eucharist when, in fact, it is the medicine to heal what we need. I can't believe that I get away from the Eucharist just because I still couldn't forgive a cause for me to be distant from the Eucharist. Even because I have to believe it, right? I like to believe that. It's not that I have to believe it. I like to believe that Jesus is precisely the complement of my absences. Each time I get it in the Eucharist, I bring into myself what I lack. It is beautiful to think that the Eucharist is the process of configuration of the human to Christ. It is the Christification that happens in me the moment I receive the Eucharist. So I don't see any problems, honey, that you are healing your lack of forgiveness with your own Eucharist. Even if you take this conscience, I need to overcome the limit. I need to forgive my husband inside of me. Then the Eucharist becomes a medicine. Even because you would live this Eucharist, I'm sure, by your account, for what I know of your story, you would live very honestly and seriously this encounter with Jesus. Then we could say, Father, but what about that person who contracted another marriage, who is living with another person? Here, my people, we needed to clarify something that sometimes lacks within our speech. Clarify. We have two real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. If I cannot commune, I am not deprived of the real presence of Jesus, because the Word is a real presence as well. So beautiful you think that each time you read the Gospel, you have sacramentally the real presence of Jesus in what he speaks. It's simple for you to understand that. When you get a letter from someone on the other side of the world, isn't that person real in your hands the moment you read the letter? Everything she tells you, you can cry. You are moved by the words that were written because there was a bridge. The distance was overcome. The words fulfill the craft of making it close to the one that is distant. I am particularly adept at the Word. I like the Word. I find we fantastic. We think that life can be different. There are a lot of living people who have died. It is not how it works. The challenge of religion is precisely to blow wind within us. Blow the breath that keeps us. Is it so fruitful that you identify in life? What are the realities that keep you alive? What are the situations that blow soul in your body? This is the context of religions. When we leave home with the intention of praying, another thing we don't want, but to blow soul in our body. Seek elements, rites that help us to live. Because when God truly happens in our hearts, he modifies above all our will. My people, we are so impoverished that our poverty is evidenced precisely in our lack of time. If you are doing an analysis, who is rich? Most of the rich who have money I know, they don't have time. They don't have time for them. They don't have time for their joys. But it is not a privilege only of the wealthy. No. So do we? How are we lacking time? And suddenly you are placed before a God who has time for you, who is not in a hurry to hear you. That is, not in a hurry. Someone who is willing to hear you. Because the non-perception of time deprives us of living the most special things in life. Generally, those who do not have the perception of time have the need to have special dates for this, and for that, and only lives at the time of the special date. And the routine, which is what is every day, that is this opportunity we have to celebrate the minor of events, to make life always special. Simple fact that we are together. That's it. It's about it. Living well, our relationship with time, because life is a bullet train, a partner. And when less we wait, it's time to leave. And then we start bitter, because we don't go at once. This departing is procedural. I am always leaving, but there comes a time in life when I really realize that I am leaving. My youth does not allow me to realize that I am leaving. But as time accumulates in us, consciousness is keen to realize that it is leaving. And that's the time. It is the moment when the invoice comes naturally in the hands, and we inevitably need to look at the result of live life. I plant an orange foot. I can't wait for strawberries. Sometimes people plant orange and want to harvest strawberry and think God is forced to give them the strawberries. It's just a made of shame in the face. And we will see that we are asking what we don't ask for. Ah, priest. But what about that story that God makes the impossible? I have the right to wait for the impossible. But I just... Oh, for impossible. So if the cross is heavy, you don't have to complain about the cross. It's part of my life. If you see, we are all here somehow carrying a cross. This is no more beautiful than the others. Why wouldn't you have to carry one too? And the cross, it is directly linked to what they have chosen for us, or what we chose. It's no use. Sometimes I come across some choices I make in my daily life that are absolutely contrary to the act of blowing life within me. Sometimes I realize myself killing myself. What I choose to read or what I choose to pay attention to. If you go on the internet to seek content, you have a lot of good content. But what unfortunately catches our attention is not the content. It is futility. It is nonsense. It is life on the other. It is the trip that the other made. How do we educate the will and desire? How do I work for my desire to forward me? Because desire is the drive that leads me, so that it takes me to what can actually do me good. And doing me good, naturally, it is good for those next to me. We waste too much time with what is not important in our lives. And suddenly, what is shouting for our attention not close to us, we cannot go by. Saramago, in one of the last interviews he gave, a beautiful documentary, at the end, several reporters next to him. A question, Saramago. Have you ever got so many awards? You were so awarded. What would you still like to win at this stage of life? He stopped, thought, and answered, time. I would like to earn time. That's it, my people. It's the greatest wealth a human being today can have. It's time. See? To read the work you would like to read, to be in the place you would like to be able to do what you would like to do. Value yours, even when the cross weighs us, even when life is difficult. No, God will not remove from us what humanly we need to face. But faith, it ends up acting as a battle instrument. Do not expect God to make your life easier. Just as a father cannot make life easier for his child because it would be irresponsible, because he would prevent him from maturing, it will support. Oh, yes. Then we are talking about a mature faith. I do not deprive myself of suffering because, humanly, he cannot deprive me. They are choices. This crisis is fundamental. There suddenly you are spending a crisis in your work with the people who are close to you, a marriage crisis, a crisis in that friendship. Everything, if you want, is a determining factor for changing directions, from perspectives. It is like being expelled from paradise, but it doesn't give up. Don't give up just because a crisis is passing. It doesn't give up just because it was expelled from that convenience you were living before. Exercises your creativity and allow this God who accesses us through feelings, thoughts, can help us understand what we are living. Yes, very naturally. The crisis is fundamental to our growth. In psychology, we even have normative crises. What are normative crises? These are the crises without which you do not change phase. If you do not live the normative crisis of adolescence, you will be eternally a childish, wanting the world to adapt to your desires, your wills, your colors, your sizes. Then comes the middle-aged crisis. You started to realize that everything is falling. It's not as it was before. Have you noticed? When we have youth in our favor, you have so much around. Youth is so full of opportunities that you do not realize that you are leaving, even though you have already entered the world leaving. Living the first day is one less day. The child has a year. She's a year less. If you want to look at the opposite, because we don't know how much time you will. I know the time I don't have anymore. You realize, I know conversion is not measurable. You can't ask for a ruler to talk to. I want to know how much share you, Christian. But we can have indications. If you want to analyze the quality of religious life in you, just look at your desires. What do you still want? What do you really want? Is it the question of Jesus to the Martimaeus? Martime, what do you want me to do? And so a great anguish, because of this pace of life, we are not having the ability to choose. We lose the right to choose. It is precisely one of the most conflicting points for us in the exercise of our inner freedom. It is when you are no longer able to choose. And that's why we need to be aware of the context where we are planted. Dilemma. And perhaps listening to us. Very good when we find someone who understands what we are feeling. Very good when in life we have this luck. At the time of my pain, I found someone who said just what I needed to hear. What is this word we needed to hear? The word that welcomes us. It is the word that gives us the tranquility. It is that word that even without removing the suffering of us, it puts us serenity. Because when we suffer from serenity, it gets different. I am here. We heard someone telling us this, and this word had an effect on us. This is what today I would like to tell you. You, who have been with me for so many years, who saw me starting here at the new song, who saw me raise big flights, and see me here today. I want to renew with you my priest commitment. I want to renew with you my commitment to be a spiritual director here when I can, with my limits, with my impossibilities, but also with what God has given me. I want to renew here my commitment to you. You who believe in what I say. You who feel comfortable with what I offer you every Wednesday. You who somehow devote your time to accompany me to read what I write. I want to be committed to you. And I want to introduce you to the one who brings me here, the heart of Jesus, so that you can die, so that you can know you, and know that this Lord that this God, that this mercy is always at your disposal, so that you can dive and you can become even better. The quality of our lives depends on the quality of our choices, what we are allowing to happen, what we are accepting. Sometimes choices are free, sometimes not. Where am I being free? Funny, my people? Often our freedom needs to be released as well. It may seem contradictory that, right? How do I make my freedom free? Because I am free. I have the possibility to put this image here, to go there, to do that, to do that. Of course, you are expanding the concept of freedom. The moment will come that you will have limits. I can't get here and beat this microphone on Christian's head, no matter how much I feel like. Sometimes, not today, you're good. Lately, joke. But I have limits. Right? The other, Emmanuel Levinas, a Jewish philosopher, who has a beautiful reflection on the other man's humanism, right? He says, the other is always epiphany, manifestation that can never be exhausted. So Levinas will say that the human being is totally another. As much as I try, I will always have the limit, because it is a mystery. Though I have my freedom, she has these limits. But I am a free man. I, in contact with the other, I will be aware that the other is totally another. I don't have the right of, in many aspects of the other's life. I do not have the right to interfere. But we are being free. We are becoming aware of this freedom, and we act on it. Because many times when I think I'm being free, I'm actually being a prisoner of myself. This is weird. I can't always understand when, thinking I was being free, I was holding on. Only life, sometimes. Sometimes the distance experience, which is a good rule for us to understand. The other and ourselves is to take a certain distance. Time helps this. When you look at the past and speak, my God in heaven, I thought I was being free at that time. But in fact, I was in my success. Many people realize this at the moment they analyze the relationships they have assumed. When he freely brought that person to his life, and then found that by acting freely and bringing that person, he was actually tingling. He was surrounding his own freedom. Then theology teaches us, theological anthropology teaches us, that there is a freedom that is the deepest we can observe in human life, which is God's gift in our life that needs to be released. I am free, but I need to free this freedom from all that conditions it. And that's why, if you will dive into the mystery of the Gospels, you will always find Jesus teaching to be free. Free freedom. Sao Paulo talks about this with a lot of mystery in the letter to the Galatians. The letter to the Galatians, for me, is the most beautiful text of Holy Scripture. She speaks from beginning to end of all that we are talking about now, the beauty of the freedom that the Christian life proposes. But we are not talking about freedom. I want to go there. I'll go. No, it is the heart to be free, to be above the law. Because it can only truly respect the law, that heart that is above it. That is, it does not hold me. It just gives me free. This is a very elaborate ethic. Christianity, I like to say this, is a very elaborate ethic. He is wrong to think that Christianity is simple. It is even a proposal of simplicity, of lightness, but it is very sophisticated to think from the Christian point of view. Imagine that Jesus wants us free, but obeying the rules. What I need to understand as a normative for life to be good for everyone. What is the social rule? It is a normative for life to be good. Why do we have to exercise in our citizenship? Because I know I don't have the right to throw trash in a space that is public. I don't have the right to trivialize or think that the public space is mine. So when using with limit, I'm being free. See how this seems contradictory? So am I free to throw the paper on the floor? I'm free to throw the trash in the river. When I play, instead of being free, I'm being arrested. It is not contradictory, but it is deep. See, if I know there is a rule that this river cannot be polluted, I can judge. But by not judging, I am really free. Reading freedom means we get into this context of the depth of analysis. You look at yourself and think that the best way to be free sometimes is you restricting yourself, is not allowing you to put rules. You are delimiting the space. Because you are free. And at free being, you start living with your choices a little more quality. Priest. But I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm being free. Watch out. Will you know if you are being free or not? It is because of that state of mind that your choice causes within you. I'm free to do many things, but I am much free not to do the moment I analyze what suits me. What I owe. What I can. Having the opportunity to enter your home in your life, to enter your living room in your room, your kitchen, to have the opportunity to establish this communion tonight. Communion that is offered to us by faith. Every time we believe in the same way, every time we find ourselves in the way we understand things, our faith, the way we interpret God, how we interpret His action in our lives, we accompany ourselves. We establish communion. Even today, I was talking to a friend of mine, how good we can find that a person has the same perception as us. It's not like this. When you find someone who sees that reality just as you, when you discover affinity points in the way of interpreting the world, in the way of interpreting things, the facts, is as if you slow down the feeling of being alone. Because all of us, as much as we have people by our side, we always feel alone at some point in our lives. And the worst loneliness is just when we can't share what we are, what we think, and what we feel. It is very good when we find someone who understands us, who accommodates our hearts inside it. This is communion. By the way, I would like to start apologizing to all viewers who were somehow upset with me last week. I give right. I was a little angry last week. I was actually talking a little bit of it. Last week, in the need we have to assume our own lives, not to be a weight in each other's lives. And I'm very afraid that some people may have heard it thinking I was dismissing them, right? No. Your pain interests me. It may be that at one point I spoke the wrong way. I don't like to offend no one. I don't like to hurt anyone. Even because the needy has to have the right to manifest. Our lack is a great weight within us. But also, of course, we need to be sometimes hard. To have an amazing word for us to wake up. But I would like to say that everyone has a lot of space within my heart. And I make a point. Or an imposition of my mission to be like that. Sometimes life gets heavy here. And I talked about that. How important it is in life. It is very good. It's great to hear this phrase from someone. I'm here. At the time of weakness, at the time of fragility, at the time of suffering. We look to the side and we can know that there is someone ready to be with us. You know that the great seduction of Jesus, the great seduction He exercised in people's lives, was precisely to settle with a real concrete presence. He was a real friend, a humanly manifested God, extremely tender, loving, merciful. Because in life, we need it. We need someone who is willing to hear our conflict, our dilemma. And perhaps listening to us give us a word, and by giving us that word, diminish our loneliness. Very good when we find someone who understands what we are feeling. Very good when in life we have this luck. At the time of my pain, I found someone who spoke precisely what I needed to hear. What is this word we needed to hear? The word that welcomes us. It is the word that gives us that tranquility. That word that even without removing the suffering of us, it puts us to serenity. Because when we suffer from serenity, it gets different. I am here. We heard someone telling us this, and this word had an effect on us. This is what today I would like to tell you. You who have been with me for so many years, who saw me starting here at the new song, who saw me raise big flights and see me here today. I want to renew with you my priest commitment. I want to renew with you my commitment to be a spiritual director here when I can, with my limits, with my impossibilities, but also with what God has given me. I want to renew here my commitment to you. You who believe in what I say. You who feel comfortable with what I offer you every Wednesday. You who somehow devote your time to accompany me to read what I write. I want to be committed to you, and I want to introduce you to the one who brings me here, the heart of Jesus, so that you can die, so that you can know him and know that this Lord, that this God, that this mercy is always at your disposal, so that you may dive and you can become in it even better. Have the opportunity to enter your home, in your life, enter your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen, to have the opportunity to establish this communion offered to us by faith. Every time we believe in the same way, every time we find ourselves in the way we understand things, our faith, the way we interpret God, how we interpret his action in our lives, we accompany, we establish communion. Even today, I was talking to a friend of mine, how good we can find that a person has the same perception as us. It's not like this. When you find someone who sees that reality just as you, when you discover affinity points in the way of interpreting the world, in the way of interpreting things, the facts is as if you slow down the feeling of being alone. Because all of us, as much as we have people by our side, we always feel alone at some point in our lives. And the worst loneliness is just when we can't share what we are, what we think, and what we feel. It is very good when we find someone who understands us, who accommodates our hearts inside it. This is communion. By the way, I would like to start apologizing to all viewers who were somehow upset with me last week. I give reason. I was a little angry last week. In fact, I was talking a little bit of this last week, the need we have to take over life itself, of not being a weight in the other's life. And I'm very afraid that some people may have heard it thinking I was dismissing them, right? No. Your pain interests me. It may be that at one point I spoke the wrong way. I don't like to offend anyone. I don't like to hurt anyone, even because the needy has to have the right to manifest. Our lack is a great weight within us. But also, of course, we need to be sometimes hard, to have an amazing word for us to wake up. But I would like to say that everyone has a lot of space within my heart, and I make a point for an imposition of my mission to be like that. Sometimes life gets heavy here, and how important it is in life we shave someone we trust. It is very good. It's great to hear this phrase from someone. I am here. At the time of weakness, at the time of fragility, at the time of suffering, we look to the side and we can know that there is someone ready to be with us. You know that the great seduction of Jesus, the great seduction he exercised in people's lives, was precisely to settle with a real concrete presence. He was a real friend, a humanly manifested God, extremely tender, loving, merciful. Because in life, we need someone who is willing to hear our conflict, She has to exercise within us the movement of overcoming. So, because I'm sad, because I'm hurt, upset, because if I don't overcome, I risk turning it into bitterness. And bitterness is not good for the heart. Bitter heart cannot perceive life. Bitter heart is focused on the same things. When we focus on the same things, when we don't expand our gaze, we risk unhappy our life experience. If we want a result, we have to fight. It's no use. Nothing will fall from the sky. Nothing falls from the sky. Faith is born from the ground. I think we reversed things, right? Our prayer had to be turned to the floor all the time. This is where God flourishes. God is the same seed, flourish on the floor. This metaphor that God is in heaven. This is beautiful, but it's here. Oh, it's stepping on this floor that life happens. The strength God gives me, the strength God gives him is so that we can plant the garden. No one promised that our life would be a flower garden, but God promised the strength for us to plant it. I'm here, thank God, full of health. Do you have my effort in this story? He has. But it is God's gift in me. Want to pass the entrance exam? Study. There is no such story, O priest. Pray to me. I will not pray if you do not study. My prayer is not for anything right now. If you do not study, you are no use sitting, kneeling before the most holy, with the book on your head, O Lord, helps me pass the entrance exam. Do your task first. Then you have the right to wait for the gifted. It's what we always talk about. We only have the right to wait for the impossible after we do everything we can. Now, there is another detail. She is saying here, priest, everything is very difficult. I know you are paying too much attention to what is difficult. Then everything is even harder. Guys, life will always be determined from what we pay attention. If you have a problem before you, you have two possibilities. Or you see the problem, or you already see the solution. There are people who only see the problem, then you can hardly find the solution, because it fixes the eyes on the problem, and there is no eyes to find the solution. And then it depends on how we interpret life. There are people who love difficulty. There are people who love problem, and end up becoming a source of problems, because they are not willing for solutions. There are people who don't know how to live without a problem. In my book, I'm going to release there is an interesting character, which she is made in disease. She loves to have disease. The dream of her life is to have a health plan. Her joy is to receive an exam in which she is precarious. Her joy is to tell the diseases, the no headache that does not pass, is the stone on the visit. There are people who like it. There are people who pay attention only to what is bad. But it can't be like that, my people. This pessimistic spirit only makes us see the negative side of things, for God's sake. You have to be a little more optimistic. You need to pay attention to the things that are good. The other day I received a very interesting email. They say they had 2 children playing on the ice. And suddenly the place where one was broken, and she fell and got stuck inside. And the other child, in the impetus to save the other one who was inside, almost dying, already frozen, and with a lot of effort that child has achieved, miraculously she sought such a great strength inside her that she got, even though she was not enough for it. She managed to break that ice with her skates. And when he arrived, the adult who saw the situation did not believe. And other people arrived until one of them spoke like this. How did this boy break this ice and remove the other child inside? Then the other said, it's because none of us were here to say that he couldn't. And it's interesting. When we are facing a difficult situation, it is very natural that other people, and there is always one like that. Didn't I say? I don't know. I'm thinking this business won't work. There's always a pork spirit ready to play a destructive phrase that will be discouraged. But no, if we do not pay attention to these speeches, we will extract courage inside us in a way that we did not know. So, my daughter, Sometimes everything is so difficult. No, not exactly this. It's just that we look at everything hard. It's not that everything is difficult. We look at everything hard. It can't be like that. We can be a little more optimistic. Difficulty exists in everyone's life. They are everywhere. Now, the way we face these difficulties is that it will make a difference. There are 5,000 people for 5 vacancies. Don't worry. See? 90% of these 5,000 who are trying this place has not studied the way you studied. If you truly prepare for things, you already eliminate most competitors, because most are more or less. Most are living more or less. Most are doing more or less. There are few people who are truly taking life responsibly the way it needs it. There are few young people who in the 16th, 17th year phase are taking the college seriously. There are few college students who are currently attending college with the discipline that the profession will require one day. There are few professionals who will truly be well prepared to serve us in their law firms, in their dental offices, in their medical offices, because there are few who are truly doing what they should do. Am I being pessimistic? No. Just look at how they are living, our university students, the way they are preparing for the future profession. And I always say, want to be a good professional, study well what you are studying, because you don't have the right to be more or less. You don't have it. My biggest concern, which I have as a priest, my people, is the quality of our priests these days. You, who are a priest, know very well how much you are required today. You need to be a man of wisdom. You need to be a man who sets a bridge with culture, with society. You can't evangelize the same way that they evangelized 20 years ago. It doesn't. We need to run after quality. No one is out of it. You in your area, you need to run after your quality. You who are a doctor, you who are a dentist, you know how much you need to improve for you to continue standing in today's world. Today we are in the time of competence, and it is no problem. This has to motivate us for us to want, recognizing. Even if it is the least, the minimum within us. We deserve to take care of this minimum. This process can be improved more and more. Increasingly increase our possibilities. And then, when we bump into our fragility, we have to learn from it. She doesn't have to be discouraged, but much more than professional quality, before it is our human quality. Much more than a good doctor, you need to be a good father, to be a good son, to be a good brother. This is what truly makes happiness come to accommodate within you. It is no use being done in your profession if you are not fulfilled as a person. And that is what we are talking about today. It is this human improvement. And in the college of life, we learn all the time. There is no teacher to teach us to be a father. How to teach us to be a brother? No. It is looking into the eyes of those we love that we will discover the right measure, the learning of each day, so that we can be a better human being in today's world. No more bad people, enough of incompetent people as a person, enough killers, enough thieves, enough of liars. Let's give this world quality. Starting with you, no matter how you lived until today, God's word to us is always optimistic. God continues to see values in you. God keeps believing that your heart can be better. God continues to believe that then. In this heart often marked by failures, there is a victory. Here you can arrive, just not give up. If something is worrying, the first thing, what can I do to reduce this concern? Is there anything concrete I can do? So, okay, you have a pain, a betrayal. Have you been there in the trader to return his trash? Do you have something choking, anything you need to solve inside your heart? Throw it away, through words, a cry, whatever. Some attitude that can this feeling of discomfort decrease. We need to do it. The same thing as the concern. When something worries me and I find out on that concern what I can do to reduce the effect of this concern in my life and do it. So I start to resolve to open the doors for this past to begin to pass. Because otherwise we will reply the experience that not worth it. We will hold on to the event that hurt us, which harmed us, and then we will live a continuous process of injuries. Because there is memory grudge. Resentment, they only cause I have never seen someone healed keeping resentment. What is resentment? Resent. It is feeling several times. It's like you take a razor and pass it on the same place on the skin. It will never heal. And the cut is getting worse. Because you are injuring the skin, you will hurt. You will hurt. Injure. You will lose the opportunity to live the healing. It's not like this. Have you noticed that when you start to heal, do you do a coconut? It's not like this. Healing causes a feeling of itching, right? Within us is the same thing. You can observe. There are many effective situations. Sometimes we are starting to recover from it. Then you have that feeling. From time to time, to want to resume that they are the healing coconuts. Hold it from there. Can keep your hatred under control. Be able to maintain and under control their resentment. Can keep your needs under control. And then you begin to live the process of liberating the negative consequences that fact has caused you. Is life. Everyone is hurt. I have no way to create a bees for me. You can't create one for you. So, from time to time, people will hurt us with words. People will hurt us with attitudes. Now you cannot allow the word that hurts and the attitude that hurts will cause injuries to your being and take too long. Stay inside you, extend more than the time it should be. He reached his being. It was in the deep of his life. It was in the deep of his heart. Already starts to make a way to heal it, heal. Because from the moment you have a wound in being, you risk infecting everything. In affection, it works like that, right? From time to time, something comes, hurts our hearts. We lose their willingness to everything. Loses your willingness to studies. Why? That has an impact. It affects us. Now, the time that will last when it affects you needs to be administered by you. After all, it's your being that is at stake, right? And suddenly you start to do everything wrong because the being is hurt. So, there is always a hurt in the being that needs to be cared for. My people, this is an exercise of every day, see? To live the experience of being with Jesus is to live all the time to manage within us these healing that we need to live so that we look like Jesus. I want to look like him, but to look like him, I need to heal in my being many things that are wrong. Do I need, from time to time, to visit my past, to understand the present? Why are I sometimes arrogant? Is it at some point in my life I was too humiliated? And why I was too humiliated, I have difficulty managing the moments when someone disputes me. No one is by chance. The healing of being happens. When we pray, when I ask God to heal my heart, to heal my mind, these are expressions that we use all the time. But God often heals our hearts, heals our mind through our reflection when you begin to put your disordered feelings in order. When you begin to resume the harmony that sometimes life and events remove. And that's what I wish for you, that in your life today, your story, you are committed to cure the wounds of your being. If you hurt you, don't take it to you. Just take it as a teaching, so you don't do with each other. But do not allow this to become bitter. Sadness to be created.